This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. So, last session we were discussing about the shell scripting, and we were trying to talk about the topics, which is functions and how to use functions, and we just adopted that particular functions inside our scripting, and we started writing the front-end related things. And after that, we talked about a codes concept. So why do we require codes and where to use codes? That is one thing we are talking about. And after that, we talked about redirectors, and we just started using redirectors as well. Okay, so that means any output coming on the screen, I don't want to display on the screen. Like, let's say if something is a failure, I will tell to the user that, hey, no, so there is something wrong, refer this log file, kind of thing. Okay, so I'm just doing that. So now here I'm installing Nginx, you're installing it, so but you don't have any output. But how do you show that whether it is getting installed or not installed? Or the, so the yum command went ahead and installed, or when yum command saying that is already installed, or yum command it is saying that it is a failure. Okay, you need to validate that. Okay, how do you do the validation? So that is where the next thing, exit status, comes into picture. Exit status comes into picture. Okay, so exit status, so any command, every command, not any command, so basically every command, every command after its execution, it may or may not give output, may or may not give output, but it may or may not give output, but it gives exit status. It gives status in form of a number. Okay, so that is called as exit status. That is called as exit status. All right, so the exit states ranges from, ranges from 0 to 255. Okay, so exit states range from 0 to 255. And so whereas 0 stands for global successful, so that means global success. Any command doesn't really matter. If it is giving a number 0, that means that is successful. Okay, and whereas if you get any number from 1 to 255, so that means it's actually a partial success. Sometimes some part is done, some part is not done, so it's a partial success. Or even it's a partial success means there's a partial failure also, right? Not complete failure, partial failure, or it's a complete failure. Okay, it doesn't really matter. So anything other than 0 is not considered as a success state. Okay, so 0 is a success state, and and 1 to 255 is not a successful state. And out of this again, okay, so 0 to 125 is left for users, is left for users to use it. Okay, use is left for users to users or commands are left for script, basically left for users to use. I mean, either it can be command, it can be a command or a script. So you are just looking at command and script as two different things, but for an operating system both are same, right? It doesn't really matter. So you are making it as a shell script. That's it. I mean, you're writing in a shell and you're calling it as a shell script. But for a system, it is just a executable. It is executing, and a command is also an executable. So for system, it doesn't really matter basically. Okay, so but 0 to 125 is what we prefer to use, and we hardly use 1 or 2 basically. Okay, so not more than that. In general, scripting also majorly. Okay, you'll not write 50 different exit states. I don't think so. That much big program you really need to writing in shell basically. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. So 0 to 125 is fine, left for the users to use, and okay, all this is fine. And so like, let's say, and how to, so we can use that numbers with the help of exit command. Okay, so if you give exit, okay, and if you exit so 0 to 1, 0 to 255 you can give, but for a user, yeah, we're just so mentioning it is user numbers, right? User states. Okay, user uses that, so that's where I'm mentioning 0 to 125. So we don't cross beyond that. If you cross is fine, but you're conflicting with the standard numbers. That's it. System uses those numbers and you're conflicting it. Okay, that's it, nothing more than that. So there is nothing harm, but still, okay, so someone who is referring the state, actually, if let's say anything beyond 125, okay, so okay, people will generally understand, okay, this is a system signal, not a shell script signal, so that it just basically confuses everyone. So exit and exit, like let's say 0 I can give, that means it just sends the state to the command line after executing the script as 0. Okay, so let it be there. Let me log into the machine. I can show you this. All right, so git space pull. So now you have given, okay, so exit status, but how do you check your status basically here? Okay, so it returns some status. Now how do you check that particular status? So by using a question mark variable. So when you execute the script and its states come into a variable, and its state come to a variable, so which is a question mark variable. How do you access variable? So $question mark. If I want to print it, echo $question mark. You're getting 0. Whereas if I go and give as 1909. So if I give exit 1, all right, so then and git space pull sh09. Now you see that, see, I don't have any output, but still from the state I can define whether it is good or bad. So echo $question mark, you're getting 1. So the same way, like your commands also follow the same standard. Okay, now let's say ls command and it gives some output, that's okay, echo $question mark, you get 0. And ls-ld of /boot, yesterday I was making /boot1, so this is just semi-successful, right? So this is a successful message, this is a failure message, okay? And therefore you get echo $question mark, you're getting number status 2. So 2 means it can be a partial success or it can be a partial failure also, right? Okay, so that is how we generally so find out the exit state of a number, exit state of a executed command as a number, and we take that particular number and we decide whether it is successful or a failure. Now sudo yum install nginx and -y, which the output is never really needed. Okay, so I don't got any output, so there is a special file so which which is actually redirecting the output to a nullified. It just nullify the output basically. Okay, so now if you see this, I don't really see any kind of an output basically, but yet I can decide whether it is a successful or failure. So it is giving 0. So that means without / null, what it is telling is the package might be already installed. Okay, so that's how it's actually m command is giving 0. So that means it's successful. It is successful. So even though it is running, but it is successful. We just need to look into that way. That's it. Okay, now coming back to here, so now what is going to be here? So yum install Nginx. Now whereas if it is a case of or I want to go with a function again. Okay, I want to check the status of this one. Okay, so status of $? Okay, that means $? is nothing but, so here the command is executed, so here the exit status is nothing but the previous executed command only. Don't confuse. See, if I use echo command here, okay, so at this stage also you're still referring the previous executed command. If I go and give one more echo $? Now at this point of time you're referring this command exit status. Previous executed command exit status is what we are seeing. Okay, so this is what it is, right? So that is how it is. Now I will go and say that, you know, I'm sending that particular value as a first argument to a function, stat $? Okay, so that means, so there's a common function which I want to take it because yeah, it's going to be used everywhere. So stat is a function. Let me open that, and case $1 is nothing but the first argument which is getting passed, and if it is equal to 0, that means it is successful, that it is successful. Okay, so what is successful, that information also I'll pass it from here. So what is successful? Okay, Nginx installation. Nginx installation is successful, so I want to print a success message. Okay, so then I'll go and give, if it is equal to 0, a success message, and success message, and here it is a component. Okay, so the component comes as a you have to send as a, I think not the component, sorry, here you have to send a first argument. Okay, so success message is going to print it in green color, that's what it is, right? So 132 success, like info, however you are doing. So success you are going to send, the first argument you are going to pass. What is the first argument? It's actually going to be $1 to this guy. So $1 is nothing, sorry, $2 to this guy. $1 is the exit status, right? So now if you refer this particular one, where I should be doing the split view. Okay, so if you take a look here, so here is the first argument I'm sending. Okay, and that becomes a $1 here, right? So that becomes a $1 here, and if you see here, the second one is nothing but the information. So that information I'm sending it to success as a first argument. So this $2 is get replaced by Nginx installation here and sends as a first argument to success, and success takes that and so get that particular value. What you're doing is you're actually trying to send the data from one place to another place. Okay, so just with the help of these special variables. That's it. Now I am done with this, and if anything other than this, so then it is what is actually a failure of $2 message. Okay, double semicolon and exact. Okay, now let's see what's going to happen there. So cd roboshop sudo Now you see this, you're getting successful message. You're getting successful message. Nginx installation was successful. Perfect, right? So let's move on to the next steps now. So let's open the documentation, dev.azure.com. So any questions on that exit status just before proceeding? Is everyone clear on that concept, what I have tried to do here from here? Okay, all right. So the next thing is so we will go with following the documentation. Let's build up the steps, remaining steps. So you just install Nginx, and after that you just give systemctl enable start Nginx, so start Nginx, and then enable Nginx, and after that you are doing some restart at the ending. So I can just take these steps to the ending also. Really need not to start it now and again restart later. So I'll do the so starting at the ending is also fine. Okay, so the next thing is I am trying to download the artifacts. Okay, so now I would like to go with downloading the artifacts. Does the downloading artifacts is only for front end, or downloading something is needed for almost all the components? I think almost all the components other than the Redis and RabbitMQ, every component has something to download. Okay, and so if I have something like that, so why don't I go with a function? Okay, so because I want to keep my code dry, right? So that's a very fundamental thing I'm doing, and that is where I will be going with declaring a function to download the files. Okay, so but I need to send some information. So here it is, and here it is. So I need to send the URL, like let's say, so download this particular one. All right, so or you want to give more specific, download underscore artifact. Okay, download underscore code, or whatever you want to keep it, download underscore app, or whatever it is you want to keep it, you can just keep there. And after this what I wanted to do is I want to declare this function. So since it is a common one, I would like to go here common, and I will come to here, and your URL is going to be the $1, right? Now call -s -o /tmp/ $component .zip file. Okay, call -s -o, you're giving the file name, and $1. Okay, and redirect any output which is coming to $log file. What is that? $log file, and stat $1, stat $1, sorry, $? And what actually this is artifact download. Okay, and also here before doing something I will be just specifying the information. So info, so info of what? Info of so download artifacts. Okay, so downloading artifacts. Okay, I'll just mention that way, and so this goes and verify, and artifact download is successful. Why I'm calling it as an artifact, what is this word? Probably you'll see that later, so just understand that as an application code. Okay, generally we call it as artifact. Why it is called as artifact, we'll talk about that later. Okay, so just to want to be more specific, I just went this way. Okay, so now let's go and try this particular piece of code is working or not. Yeah, so downloading artifacts is an information, and artifact download is actually an what we call successful message. Okay, and after this, so generally now what we need to do is we need to go into the certain steps basically, right? So now clean up old artifact. So this is what the steps which is involved out there. So I will take this and go to the front end. Yeah, so I'll remove those lines. It is anyhow simply a comment. Now what is the next one is info. So what you're doing, remove old artifacts. Okay, so and what is the thing you have to do? rm-rf and /usr/share/nginx/html/star. Okay, so you remove them. So rather than going into the directory, I'm giving the full path and remove everything. So it just happens. Okay, so I'll also give rm-rvf. RVF is going to generate some output. So for our understanding, like what all the files it removed, I will redirect the output to the log file. And finally, I'll check the status of this one, previous executor command. So sending the artifact removal. Okay, so artifact removal. Okay, so this particular part is done. And what is the next thing? And so we'll go for info. So extract artifact archive. Okay, extract artifact archive. So how do we do that is unzip. So sometimes I want to, so no, I have to go into the location. So cd /usr/share/nginx/html. Okay, the location I have to go there. And so now unzip -o. -o is just for a forceful option. Okay, so overwrite something if it is already there, overwrite. But anyhow, that's logically not really needed. Why? Because you're removing the files, there will be nothing to overwrite as well. So just as a standard option, I want to use it. And so what is the file I want to download? This one. Okay, unzip -o, this particular file, and this so just actually unzips the file. Okay, and what is the next step which you have? So then you have to use this file also. Okay, so and if this goes fine, so then what we have to do is we just need to check the status of $? And artifact extract is successful. Okay, and after that, so what is the next thing? So we have to do just some cleanup. So this is even really not needed. So if you want to run, you can run, that's okay. It's really not needed. This is not really needed. And those files also will not harm anything. Those files will not harm anything. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, that's okay. And the next one is so you have to move your configuration file to here. Okay, so then I will be going and saying that info, so update Nginx configuration. Okay, update Nginx configuration. So how do I embed the Nginx configuration is start $? And here okay, so yeah, sorry. And so start $? So here Nginx configuration update. Okay, Nginx configuration update. Right, so it is also going to be done. And so once after this is done, so finally we have to go with so start Nginx service. start Nginx service, and then systemctl enable Nginx. Systemctl restart Nginx. Okay, so start $question mark. So now what finally? So start Nginx. Startup, whatever it is, some names which makes your understanding. That's it. Okay, so this is how you make it. So start Nginx service, but I'm giving a restart option. Why I'm giving a restart option is, assume the server is already having Nginx, and so if I want to assume the server is already having Nginx, and if I made some configuration update, something like this, so if there are any changes actually out there, it just goes on restart. Restart is much better, so there's nothing harm in restarting there. So we just do a restart now, and so the service will be fine. So this is how we just done with our front end. So here, remove this extra code also, and yeah. So now, yeah, your front end is completely ready. Okay. Now I'll go and run this particular one on the node. So now if I just go and give this, so all the information related to the front end is coming there. Okay, so now I will just go and give this particular server IP address on the browser. Now I should see at least the front end web page, right? So yeah, perfect. So some 404 not found is coming. Need to take a look like why I'm getting this. We can take a look. Okay, what is it is telling is actually 404. We can take a look. So here I can go to the cd/var log Nginx. So everything gets logged, right? Nginx is having this particular log, and what actually it is telling 404, you can find out from the either from the error.log or access.log. So 404 is the access information you'll find out in the access.log. So for which one you're getting 404, it's actually giving so 404 for user, that's okay, but let me also cat error.log. Yeah, so here the 404 is majorly coming for HTML, so it's not finding 5ox.html file. So cd/usr, sorry, usr share nginx html do ls. Is this the one you're getting 404? Or we can directly get that information from the browser also. So if I go with the what is that, inspect button, okay, so and if you click on which element actually you're getting it, so or you can go to the console. Okay, so now there are different places you're getting 404, which is fine, and but why I'm actually getting this is a quite interesting thing. So try to refresh. API user is fine, catalog app is not there, 404 is okay, this 404 is okay, this 404 is okay, and this category is also okay, but why am I getting this 404? So something, yeah, here there is some error. 404 not found, disable Chrome friendly page. So you're getting 404 not found because of, you see this? So you're getting 404 not found. It's actually coming as a title, head, body, center. You're getting in center, right? So something like that. Yeah, it's fine. And so why I'm getting this is so application JSON. So there should be some file it is calling. So here actually getting a disable my and Chrome friendly. Okay, so there is something EUM. There should be one file called as EUM. This file is missing. Okay. Yeah, that error gone away. Okay, I know what to do. So there is some code actually, you know, to bother about. So that's a, now assume we can say that as a developer mistake kind of thing. Okay, so I'm not sure why earlier we didn't got it, now we are getting it. That's okay. And so yeah, but whatever it is, that's not a really a blocker kind of thing, so you can just ignore that. But let me correct it basically. So why should you get that error? Yeah, there it is. Rename the file. It's actually not tmpl, it has to be um. Okay, let's come back. Okay, so that is how I got the so that is how you got the what we call, with the scripting you have set up the whole front-end application. Now just to cross check, you know, I'm not sure I'm executing the same script. I'm executing the same script again and again on the same server. I'm not sure that, you know, if I take this particular script in another server, whether there are any fresh issues come into picture. I don't know. Okay, but I want to really try out this in another machine. Okay, I want to try out this in another machine and find it out. Okay, so and find it out. Okay, so whether it is actually really gonna work or not. All right, for that I am going to do is I launch an instance. Launch instance from template. We already have one template, so take that, spot one. Everything going to be remain same, just create it, just to testing. So one more server, we'll take this, we'll clone that repository and we'll run it and we'll get it. Okay, okay, it's up. So yeah, so we can clone that repository. So where is our repository? So our repositories are actually in GitHub link. So you open this, all our public repositories. So shell scripting and just try to clone this. Okay. So, all right. So sudo make front end. Make is not there. Sudo yum install make. Perfect. So here also it is working fine. So now we'll just go and hit this particular server, and assuming that it should not actually kind of give you that 404 error also. Okay. So if I hit it on the browser, it worked fine. It worked fine. Okay. All right. So I think that's fine. And so we can move on to the next component there. Okay. But yeah, so any questions on this so far? Like everyone clear that what we have done and why we have done each and every steps? So is every point clear? Any questions? All good? Any confusion here? All right. So good. And the next thing it is going to be is, and the next thing is going to be, next thing it is going to be is the next component, so which is Mongo. So we'll just try to go with the Mongo, and we will continue with Mongo. Okay. All right. So for the Mongo, what we have here, so it's going to be some step, something like this is common. Yeah. So set up, what is that? Mongo, right? Yeah. So this is a command you're going to run to get the repo. And the next one is info create MongoDB repositories, and create the MongoDB repositories. Create a MongoDB, not repository, repository. Okay, so create a MongoDB repository. Create a MongoDB which repository? It's actually a yum repository. Okay, or download basically, or setup basically. So set up MongoDB yum repository, and so you just do this command. So stat $? And repository setup. Okay, so it's done or it's successful, whatever it is. That's done. What's the next thing is you need to install and start MongoDB service, and after that you need to update your you need to update your etc mongodb.file. So from 127 to okay, so from it is set from 127.0.0.1 to 0.0.0.0. Okay, so this is what been set up. All right, so now here I will go with the info, and so install MongoDB. Okay, so then log_file. All right. So restart really you don't need. I mean, start the MongoDB. You don't really need to do that because again I had to restart it. Okay. So that's where. So firstly, let me set it up the MongoDB configuration file. So how do you edit the MongoDB configuration file? So you edit it through a editor, right? So, and what is the editor? You know, the VI editor. VI editor. Okay. So far, you know, is VI editor, and you need to edit that. Okay. And but VI editor require a manual intervention. So you have to open it with VI. You have to go from one mode to another mode and things like that. So it actually not a automated way. So it's majorly for end user, you know, manual way only. Okay. Now, if I want to make it automated, so then what I have to do? If I want to make it automated, then what I have to do? So that is where, the next editor come into picture, which is SCD editor. Okay, so I'll try to show you, you know, so what are the minimal required options for doing the things with SCD editor, and I mean, what are the general things basically. So we'll just use them and okay, we'll just use them and understand with the SCD editor, and we'll move on and apply this particular knowledge. I mean, apply that particular SCD knowledge to here, and we will do that. Okay, so now in SCD editor, so what are the things you can do here is so let me copy a file or head of /etc password file, so some file, and redirect the output to password file. So cat password file, okay, so cat password, and this is actually coming as this content. Now, so what I wanted to do basically, you know, so with SCD editor, so like what all the things I want to do. First thing, I want to search and replace. I want to search a word and I want to replace that word. That's the one thing. And the second thing, what I can generally do is I want to add my own content. Okay, so how do you add that? So that's some criteria. Okay, and I want to add my own lines. I want to delete lines. I want to add my own lines, and I want to search something and replace. In very general, okay, these are the options which you generally perform on an editor, right? Or on a file using the editor in general. Okay, so now like set is a command, SCD is a command, it's an editor. So it's a streamline editor. It's also, the name itself tells it's an editor, streamline editor, and that means it can change the files over the command. Okay, so now SCD, so now I have to give it like, you know, so like let's say 1D, that means first line delete something called as in the file password. Okay, if the first line was supposed to be root, that line has been deleted and printed the remaining output. It is actually not modifying the file for now. Okay, because to modify you have to tell with more options. So you have to tell with more options, and so that's where it's not really editing a file. It's actually, you know, so doing something, and it's actually doing something, and it's actually not doing something. It's actually whatever you ask for, it is doing and printing on the screen. Okay, basically, it's not really editing the file. If you cat password file, you're still same. Okay, you're still having root. All right. So now what you have done, the criteria you have given is one delete, so password file. So now you're telling I want to delete the first line, and I did it. Okay, okay, there's a line number criteria, or you want to give some, you know, so such criteria also, like let's say I want to go in single quotes. I mean, so generally we need to give it in single quotes. So for line numbers it's not really needed, but yeah, so as a standard practice you keep that in mind, that SCD command should be in single quotes or double quotes, any quotes. Very wide used is a single quote. And you know now what is the difference between single quote and double quote. If it is a single quote, you cannot access the variables. If it is a double quote, you can access the variables, shell variables. All right, so now I want to, you know, so search for no login, and I want to delete all the lines. Search for no login and delete those lines. So this is the search criteria in SCD command. In 2 forward slashes you say that I want to delete those lines. All the lines which is having a word called as no login is being deleted. Okay, the search criteria can be done on line numbers. So the search criteria can be searched given on based on some searching a word as well. Okay, so this is about how do you delete the lines and how do you add the lines. How do you add the lines? So now the add the lines will be generally done in three ways. One is insert. That means, like, let's say a first line I want to insert. So first line I want to insert, and I want to say like hello. So that means in the first line the hello came in. So the hello is the line. Okay, hello is the line. And and the next thing is okay, so if you want to go with the criteria like however you have done previously, like so search for some word and do that. Like, let's say wherever is no login, insert a new line hello. So many hellos come into picture. So wherever there's a no login, okay, so you add hello kind of thing, so then it adds everywhere. All right, so this is how you're going to add new lines also. So insert is actually, you're saying one insert, it actually inserting in the first line. Like, let's say if you say one append, it just goes adds to the, like, let's say one append. Let's go with the line numbers, it is easier to understand. One append is actually coming to the next line, whether you want to insert or whether you want to append. So those are the two criterias. Okay, insert means is actually goes and insert the exact line. The existing line will become the next line, whereas append is it will go and add to the next to that particular line. Okay, and sometimes I don't want this particular first line, I want to change that to hello. The first line is being changed, the previous content has been removed, and the new content is actually going to be changing as hello. Okay, so these are the general things which you have in adding the lines in the editor using the sed command. So might be depends upon the scenario, the command get extended, that's okay. But so this is how you do that. And so the last option which you have here is the search and the last one which you have here is a search and replace option. Okay, so a search and replace option, and so that particular search replace, how do you do with the sed command? So sed, so substitute. Okay, search and replace is nothing but substitute, so I have to use substitute command. So substitute no login replaced with it's like a B editor only, like, let's say no login caps, and if you give global, if any duplications of or if there are multiple entries in the line, it will just replace. Okay, but for now it's okay. So the password, all no logins went into caps, all no logins went to caps, right? So that is how you're going to get it, right? All right, and so now actually you're not editing the file. If I want to edit the file, so I'll be giving with -i option, that's it. If I just give -i option, okay, now cap password file, so it is all being changed to caps. Now using these particular criteria, I can go ahead and so I can go ahead and deal with that particular MongoDB file. Okay, but how do we do that? Let's see. For MongoDB, so I think here stat $MongoDB install is successful. All right, so first of all, I want to try this much in the new server. I will go to here. So here it is MongoDB, right? Sorry, Mongo, not MongoDB, Mongo. All right, so now let's say cat/etc mongod.conf file. Okay, so here it is. Now what I want to do is I want to search for 127.0.0.1 and I want to replace it with 0.0.0, right? So what is the right option now? Search for something and replace with something. So that's a substitute option is the right option, right? So now also I want to check it out. Is there any other 127s from this particular file? Okay, are there any more so locations you're actually having 127? So there is only one location. So now I can go and give set hyphen okay, no hyphens. Let's say I want to test it out. Search for or substitute 127.0.0.1, replace it with 0.0.0.0.0, so slash and slash etc mongod.conf file. So now you see this, it's 0.0.0.0. Okay, so yeah, so this is how you're going to get it. All right, and yeah, now I want to apply this particular logic, and I'll just take this command itself directly. And so here I'm going to say that so info update MongoDB configuration, update MongoDB configuration. So here I will go with this command, but with it goes as cd-i. Okay, so then what is the next thing is stat $? So MongoDB configuration update. Okay, is done. So once after it is done, so then what is the next thing is we have to download the artifact. So to download the artifacts, we already have a function. So all I need to do is so here download underscore artifacts. Okay, and here it is. Download underscore artifacts, and so here it is, right? So download underscore, not artifacts, artifact. Okay, so download underscore artifact. Okay, and so before to that I want to print some message, right? So here I'm doing downloading. Okay, so info downloading. What I'm trying to download, MongoDB schema. What I'm trying to download is MongoDB schema. I just downloaded that MongoDB schema, and yeah, so it's actually going to be saying that. So common.sh will say that it is downloading is artifact download is successful. All right, fine. And after this, then what is the next thing I have to what I have to do is I have to restart my sorry, I have to first restart my MongoDB service, and then I have to do this. Okay, or even in fact actually after updating the configuration, so you can say that info, so info restart MongoDB, and so I will say that systemctl enable MongoDB and systemctl so it's not info. Let's go with stat $? So DB register. And yeah, okay, so artifact download is done, so everything is fine so far. And what I have to do is just load the schema. Okay, so then I have to load the schema. So these are the two things which I have. So to load into the schema, so I have to go to this one, and so cd/tmp. Okay, so info, and so extract artifact, and so unzip-wo mongodb.zip file. Okay, so $log_file, and so here the next one is okay, we'll just load this. So probably okay, after extracting, so probably I want to put like so stat, and then $? So artifact extract, so Mongo is a catalog.js and users.js, and so yeah, so load schema. So probably I would say like so info, just go with saying that load schema. Okay, so here it is, 2 files you're just checking. Last one I'm checking, so if at least one goes fine is also. But I think load schema for better mentioned like so catalog service, and so here and then so stat $? So catalog schema load is successful. Okay, and load schema, and then go for users, and then $? And then user schema load. Okay, so okay, so finally we'll give a try on this. How does it go? Let's see. There is something which it is failing it up. Okay, so if it is a failure, I don't want to proceed this much long actually. So artifact extract itself is a failure, so of course the remaining things also will go into a failure. There is no point in continuing until here. So that is where I wanted to stop there itself. If there is a failure, I have to stop there itself. So that's a quite important thing. So now if there is a failure, so then I have to say that, here it is, and you're failing, right? So after the failure, what actually I'm telling here is so here I'm telling that, so it's a failure, and I am going to say echo -e refer log file, so which is $log_file for more information. So I'm going to say this, and I am never going to so proceed anymore. So exit command will stop there itself with an exit status of 1. Okay. So another point on the exit status is whenever the exit command is encountered, so the remaining commands whatever you have, so will never be executed. If exit command is encountered, then it always come out of the script there itself. Okay, that's actually exit, and that is where I wanted to. Okay, so say this particular message. We'll see what is a failure. We'll see, but this is also a quite important thing. So yeah, it's a failure. Now you're getting it is a log file. So take a look on the log file. Yeah, I'll go and take a look on the log file. So it is telling that it cannot find or open mongodb.zip file. Yeah, okay. So because there is a slight differences here. There is a slight differences here. So what all the differences we have here is what all the differences we okay, so we have here is what is this? Yeah, so here I'm actually making it as mongo.sh. Okay, here actually mongo.sh also component equal to front end I'm making component is mongodb. That is the reason. Okay, it's unzipping the file /tmp/ or it's downloading the file basically, right? It's downloading the file in the name of /tmp component.zip file. Okay, so that's why. So that is why. So that is why it's a failure, and I have just fixed that. And like, let's see. Okay, so now it went fine. So previously when it was a failure, I stopped there itself and printed the proper information. From the information, I tried to understand there went something wrong, and I tried to fix that particular one. And yeah, so okay, so this is how it is going to be. All right, so yeah, so MongoDB is also fine now. Any questions? Any questions, confusions? Okay, all right. So I mean, the next one, the same way, you'll be writing the next component as well. One by one component. So one by one component. So we are going to, okay, so take care of this. So that's how it's going to be catalog, right? Sorry, yeah, catalog. It's gonna be catalog.sh. Okay, so here also /bin /bash. Okay, so a couple of things I can just put it from here. So it actually has to be catalog setup catalog component. All right, so that's how let's see the let's see the documentation, and we'll do that. So here catalog requires what it requires. So Node.js, Make, and GCC. So these things. So yeah. So first thing I'm going to do this, and so info. I'll just say install install Node.js. Go with this, and $log underscore file, and so stat $? So Node.js. So Node.js installation. Okay, and after that you need to now let's set up the catalog application. So we need to add the user. Okay, so user add, right? So like let's say info, and so create application user. So create application user add. Okay, so and redirect the output to this guy, and start $? Okay, so application user creation is a success or failure, it will print it. Okay, and so the next thing is actually going to be the next thing is okay, so you have to download the artifacts, and we have to so execute these particular commands. So how do we so how do we okay, so how do we deal with this one by one? Okay, but this should be run as a RoboShop user, right? So previously you're using su command, and you're actually doing okay, so you're actually okay, doing a su command and doing it. Okay, and so okay, now I want to do it as a I mean, I need to also do the same way, but still I don't want to go that way. There's an alternate approach. Basically, I will run it as a root user, but I'll take care of the permissions, fixing, and everything at the ending. Okay, so that's how it can so that's how it can take care of okay, so in a easier way, I would say. Okay, the easiest and so simple way is, rather than switching to the user and making the commands complex, so there is no problem if I run this particular commands as a root user also. Okay, all it needs to do is it just so need some permissions. Okay, and that permissions I'll be fixing at the ending. So that's the approach I want to take it. Okay, and okay, let's take care of this. Now I need to download this particular one, download artifact, right? So info, so download catalog application, and so here download underscore artifact. All right, and here is the artifact already there. And after that so info, so extract artifacts. Okay, cd/home/RoboShop. Okay, cd/home/RoboShop, and so I will just go and give mkdir-p, or let me just put it this way, mkdir-p, and this one with I don't want to hard code it as a catalog, so because the component variable is there, I will just go and give this $, and you go into this particular directory. So why I'm using -p option is, even if the directory is already there, it will not failure. It will not go into a failure. Now cd into this location, and unzip okay, so /tmp/$ component okay, dot zip file, okay, and a dollar log underscore file. Okay, so that is how it is, and unzip the file. And after this, what is the next things which we have? So I need to print the status. So status dollar question mark. Okay, so download. Sorry, extract artifacts. Artifact extract is successful. Okay, and yeah, and the next thing is npm install. You are already there. So info. So info install node.js. dependencies, and I'll go for npm install and start a dollar question mark, and I'll go for node.js dependencies install. Okay, installation probably. Okay, so this is how I want to make it. So let's take a catalog machine and do this, but we'll face a little tricky issue. So probably that can be addressed with bit more conditioning. Okay, so how do we do that? We'll see that in probably in tomorrow's session. So but let's try to get into a machine and then we'll see the problem first of all. So first let's clone the repository. Okay, so cd shell scripts, cd reverse shop, sudo yum install make, and make catalog will not work because there is no such rule, right? So you need to update your make file first of all that there is a catalog. Now yesterday we have data only, or until yesterday we have only this much, right? So which is, sorry, not this, this as a catalog. Okay, every component we need to update it, but now it's fine. Git space pull. Okay, cool. So now actually I'm running the catalog, I'm running the MongoDB script. Yeah, catalog.sh. No problem. So it's installing the Node.js. So actually that npm is actually giving the output, so which we need to control that. So I think we missed that particular part, so we need to send this particular output to the log file. Okay. And also it's actually giving an error basically. So actually you're running as a root user and this node.js is coming in a standard and saying that, you know, okay, node.js is coming as a standard and okay, telling that you should not run it as the root user, okay, and it should be, you know, so do it as a normal user, but that problem will take it later. But for now we will see what is another problem. There are two problems now. One, node.js will not run node.js will not run okay, so as a root user. That is one problem. And the second problem is now you see this creation of the application user is a failure. Earlier it's already created the user. Now we are actually trying to add a user. Now it is trying to add a user, so now it's ending up with some error. Now it is ending up with some error. So we need to control this also. These are two issues actually which we are going to face now, and we need to address those particular things with more options, because earlier was a manual steps. We never faced these particular scenarios. Now we are actually getting into an automation. And okay, so now we are actually getting into automation. So we see some challenges, and those particular things will be addressed now. Okay, so yeah, that's all from my side for today. I think little early is also fine, but yeah, so we will take this up in the next session, so to not put much of the things in one day. Yeah, any questions? Any questions? Okay, all right, so no questions. Will meet in tomorrow session, and we'll continue that. You know, so two problems whatever we have, will if we address those problems, most of the components will go. I don't think so there is some additional steps involved out there. Just the simple steps whatever we have out there, we can just take care from them. Okay, all right, so all good. We'll continue tomorrow session. Yeah, bye, good day.